The Square Ball Podcast.
Welcome to the show. Brought to you with Levi Solicitors. 15% discount, Michael. 15%, not 10. You can get 10% on all your general legal fee stuff.
Yeah.
As it's known, I think, in the biz, the old lawyer biz. 15% on.
Conveyancing.
Yep.
Wills.
Which we love.
Probate.
Yeah. And wills, as we've established, best thing to go for at the minute.
Because you can book your appointment online.
You're learning.
And you can do a video-struck telephone appointment for it.
Yeah. Do you know, quite legitimately, though, it is still good to go in person as well, because then they know for sure that you've not got somebody basically making you go on a camera phone against your will to do your will. It's absolutely true.
Is that right?
It is true.
Okay.
Definitely. Anyway.
So if you are a gold digger who's married a 95-year-old with a heart condition, contact Levi Solicitors.
.co.uk. The important thing is you get the referral through us because it helps us. LeviSolicitors.co.uk / the square ball. To the Brentford preview in the league. Is this a league fixture?
It is, yes.
Right. Okay.
Why are we thinking playing another lower league
strange,
side?
Yeah, to find us playing. Yeah, Brentford. They've beaten Man City and Liverpool in the last few weeks.
I mean, Liverpool are terrible, as it turns out.
Yeah, can beat them.
And as last night proved, you can get at Man City.
Yeah, they're beatable. So Brentford essentially have achieved nothing since the League One days, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, they're not doing well, are they? And they're not well coached.
No, not well run.
Yeah.
I think they need a new stadium.
Yeah, that one's tiny, isn't it, the one they've got?
Yeah, some tiny little shed that they've got.
It's a bit like, it looks all a bit like Gilliam's away end. If you've ever seen that, I think it's just all on scaffolding and stuff.
So they're well overdue a new ground.
I hope they get that one day. I do.
Well, they can dream, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I don't know what they'll need it for in League One necessarily when their attendance is returned to normal.
Once they clear up the clerical error, which has seen them put in 8th place in the Premier League, this whole thing has blown over.
Maybe once the
playing really well.
Maybe once the PRS bill for unlicensed use of Hey Jude lands, Paul McCartney gets them shut down for unpaid royalties.
Yeah, it seems fair enough.
Don't like Brentford. Just annoying, because the plan with Brentford, this is the second season up, isn't it?
Yeah, but we all know that third season syndrome's coming, as we're experiencing right now.
We're really hoping they get a big dose of what we went through last year in their second season, but it's not happening. They just seem to still be quite good and still keep buying good players for cheap and winning matches and being really smug about it. So
it will genuinely though be interesting to see from an objective point of view whether they do eventually regress to the mean, just because if you don't have money in this league, and they're always going to be genuinely capped by the size of the attendances and the commercial stuff they can offer people, obviously helps being in London, I think, then whether they do end up struggling in subsequent years, because you wonder whether, is it a lightning in a bottle thing with Thomas Frank, who succeeds him eventually? There are questions, genuine questions around that.
What else does Thomas Frank keep in bottles or glass jars?
Don't know. Probably maybe milk.
Yeah, good one. Jams.
Mm-hmm.
Pickles.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't?
I mean,
what does he pickle?
If he had to go away for some reason, I guess that would maybe throw things up in the air a bit for him.
What does he pickle?
Anything he can get his hands on.
Did you notice that in the Aldi centre aisle in the run up to Christmas, they had big, I think those 5 litre things of pickling vinegar.
Oh, okay.
I nearly bought one, but then I realised I really don't need 5 litres of pickling vinegar. Just walk around Aldi going, do I need a whacker plate? Do I need 5 litres of pickling vinegar?
It's a big temptation when you've run out of booze as well, isn't it? Oh, I've got that pickling vinegar.
Take the edge off.
It's hard to tell this season, really, isn't it? Because with Arsenal suddenly winning the league, which nobody saw coming, Manchester City can only seem to get it together in the second half of things and keep losing games. Liverpool being terrible, not sure that was really predictable. Scum getting good again. And that's it's hard to tell whether that's what's letting Brighton and Brentford, Fulham get up there. Are they taking advantage of kind of a season where the top six, the big six, are all kind of having their weird crises and they'll all be back next year? Or whether it is like, Brighton, now they've broken that 9 wins in a season barrier and got rid of that loser manager who was holding them back. Are they now legitimately going to be top 7, 8 for good now? Are Brentford actually going to stay up there? And keep punching above their weight, or is I guess the other version of it is you look at Leicester and like gone from winning the league, Champions League, to now really looking in danger of relegation. I think us in the middle is like, I guess we just love to get involved instead of just being in the middle of it, looking around and going like, oh, Brentford are good this year, and oh, Brighton are good this year, and oh, Leicester aren't good anymore. It's like, could we just have a turn?
The fixture down there at the G-Tech earlier this season was an absolute horror show, wasn't it, in terms of completely playing into their hands and it being exploited ruthlessly. Didn't help when we had some of our more expressive defending, the old free-form defending.
Brentford really hoovered up the chances at the G-Tech, didn't they?
They did.
That's correct. G-Tech make vacuum cleaners.
Yes.
And garden products. I think we've done this before. I think we were trying to get a free lawnmower off them.
Why we're on a first floor office building? Do you mean you wanted a free lawnmower?
Well, yeah. Yeah. Are you a vacuum? We take a vacuum, won't we?
Yeah. Yeah. No, we would. Yeah, absolutely. Office vacuum. Yeah. Hi, G-Tech. But we were terrible down there. Although we actually played quite well and controlled a lot of the possession. Very reminiscent, I guess, in a way of what happened at Villa, but without the 5-goal pasting.
Yeah, we weren't terrible there. We actually were all right for a lot of it.
Should have had the penalty on Sinistera as well. And he scored a brilliant goal. Sinistera gave away a penalty, that's right. Somerville was fouled. Even the penalty that Sinistera gave away.
Sinistera scored that really good goal, didn't he, as well?
Yeah. And the penalty he gave away was not a penalty. And then Somerville should have had one because it was worse. Sinistera scored the goal of the match, and I think we should have got 3 points for that.
So we were cheated then, were we?
And then Llorente just went mad.
Yeah. And Tony should have been banned anyway.
Yeah. And if he is going to get banned, I dare say it'll be like Monday. They'll just wait.
Yeah.
I mean,
wait until he scored his goals this week.
These things take time, don't they? And they've not really released full details of what he's done wrong, have they?
Just lots of it, I think.
Yeah.
Seems to be the other bits they have released.
There are lots of bets, and they just need to, whether they're going through them all individually.
Well, lump on for him to score this weekend the way we're defending. But you never know. You never know. We might have timed it up by then. Or conversely,
he's not been betting against his own team or anything. Because if he'd have done that, I think they may have acted with a bit more haste on it. But if he's just been sticking money on because he's a bored rich man, which I think is why most footballers bet, because they're like, something to fucking do with it.
And you know about it as well. You know a bit about. I guess that's the problem, is you know too much from the authorities' point of view.
I mean, I'm falling back completely and utterly on recency bias here, but because we won through the week and we scored 5 goals, I'm all for us doing it again. We've got our new thrilling, exciting attacking lineup, so I think we might flip reverse what they did to us down there at Ellen Road on Sunday.
You're predicting a 5-2 win?
Yes.
I think it's pretty safe to concede that we'll
concede 2.
Yeah, that's a safe
because we have to. It's just how many we score, isn't it? The crowd will be buoyed by a victory through the week. We get off to a nice bright start. Hopefully another 26-second goal would be fine.
And another brilliant one.
Yes. If he wants to do that
I don't want to see a scrappy 26-second goal. I want some overhead kick next time, Willie. Up your game, for Christ's sake.
And then, the lift that we'll get when we're 3-2 up, and then Jorginho Rutter comes on alongside a rejuvenated Pat Bamford. Mugs available at thesquareball.net. Everyone's going to be up for it, aren't they?
Yeah, let's say yes.
You don't sound entirely convinced, Michael.
Well, I'm very concerned about our defending, because we, even leaving aside the fact we were 5-0 up and they were late goals, we gave Cardiff chances in that game again, and they had a goal disallowed, and I don't know. We still look a complete shambles at the back.
Yeah, but then Brentford's weaknesses, we've got to take a little look to what WhoScored.com are saying. They are weak at keeping possession of the ball, very weak against long shots, weak at avoiding individual errors, weak at defending attacks down the wings, which I guess is irrelevant, but weak at defending against skillful players. So if we're going to bring on the most two-footed player Jesse Marsh has ever seen, who loves to dribble, I think it's a Rutter hat-trick is destined to happen.
Sinistera's back.
Exactly. Gnonto, obviously.
Unstoppable.
Even Somerville's not going to make it, is he? But even Brendan Aronson, if he sort of sorts his life out, he is very good, skillful, running forward, and it's the kind of player that they won't like to play against if he's in there. They are a little bit of a worry with their strengths.
I was just reading through these, and these don't fill me with dread at all.
Yeah, they're strong at creating scoring chances using through balls, strong at counter-attacks, strong at finishing scoring
attacking set pieces. We're notoriously good in defence with stuff like that.
And I mean, that was one of the major criticisms of Cardiff, that we just watched another corner go into the net and then we're kind of like, oh, good, he was standing in the wrong place. So there's a lot there. I mean, we know from
is there anything on
letting them score 5 against us that there's a lot they can do to hurt us.
Anything in the Data Moscow about standing at the back post and just waiting for it to come to you?
No, but I think most teams tend to just discover that works against Leeds rather than it being a particular characteristic of their own.
Yeah.
You can just generally just look up and you can be like, oh,
see your mate's free on
someone's screaming for it at the back post and there's no one stood anywhere near them.
If you listen to Jesse Marsh, he says that does not happen. And it's a leadership issue. We just got to be braver, and that will stop anything like that from happening. So
we got away with 2 against Cardiff, didn't we? Because, I mean, admittedly, they did score from one, but the one where Luke Ayling made a mess of it, there was actually someone at the back post ready to head that in if the cross had been better. It kind of went between Luke Ayling's legs and bounced up, and someone middle of the goal scored it. But then there was the other one where there was just a straight pass across that the player let go under his foot and it went out of play.
It was quite close to being 5-4. I mean,
to be fair, it could have been 10-4.
Yeah. I wasn't on the
radio call.
The match ball after the game. I absolutely loved that match and just like how good we were, and that it didn't matter that Cardiff were terrible because we played against them as if they were terrible. We didn't draw 2-2. We didn't do anything stupid. We just scored 5. But there was just enough in it, and I decided to ignore it until I decided to change my mind now. But just like, let's just ignore the bad stuff, the weaknesses that we concede.
It's a good way. It is a good way to navigate life. That is just bury your head in the sand and be in complete denial about important issues.
Well, it's easy when you've won 5-2. I think it's when we lose games
5-2
or 2-1 at Villa, and then when Marsh is saying, no, this was brilliant. That's where it doesn't quite work. If we concede 2 to Brentford and score 5, then praise it to the high heavens. I would absolutely ignore any problems whatsoever.
Still not conceded a goal with Verba on the pitch, have we? Shame he's injured. I did see that the other day. I don't even know if it's true. I assume someone else had checked, the person who tweeted it.
Yeah, it'll be right.
Marsh said it,
right?
Oh, did he?
I'm pretty sure he mentioned
Moscow.
that.
That's immediately been discarded.
Jesse says a lot.
Yes.
I can't be expected to listen to everything he says, can I?
No, I think he was right. So that's a good sign. He looks decent. He against in the home game against Cardiff, he was sort of like you didn't really notice him in a good way.
I thought that. I had that exact same thought. I thought, I haven't noticed Max Verba, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
In the way that you do notice Diego Llorente occasionally and think, come on, Diego, let's make this a good one.
He didn't try and knee it out of the stadium or anything like Llorente did at one point. A big triumphant thigh swinging towards the ball.
My favourite. If we're gonna like tear that performance apart now, my favourite bit is Firpo was looking really good.
Until where's the until
particularly
coming?
going forward, and I started sitting there when I was thinking about how much I was just enjoying everything. I was like, "That's great, Gnonto's goal. That everything's going." And I was like, "Firpo's playing well. That's how good this is." And then he passed the ball to Greenwood, ran into the penalty area, and Greenwood tried to pass it back. And Firpo was just looking in completely the wrong direction, and just didn't see the ball being hit. He was just
got distracted by the floodlights.
It was so funny, and I don't mind these things when we're 5-0 up. And I think Firpo. It's funny because what I've been thinking was trying to work out what the difference was from the first game in Cardiff. Why did we only draw 2-2 and go 2-0 down to a team that obviously was as bad as they were when we saw them at Elland Road? Like, well, Tyler Adams is one big difference, but then I was like, Is Firpo some kind of factor here? Because he is a left back, and we're playing with a left back at left back, and we're trying to attack more.
Rodrigo.
And we were better in the
Rodrigo.
We were better in the second half down in Wales when we stopped trying to attack through Rasmus and we started attacking through Firpo. I was like, is it me? Are we maybe going to be better if we have Firpo and we just play him into form? And then he did that, and I was like, well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's not. It's a bit of a sawtooth graph. It's not necessarily a straight line.
And it is. I think that's still there to be explored. It's like, if we give Firpo the chance that we hoped he was going to take at the start of the season, when he was like, he did the interview pretending that he hadn't, like his leg wasn't falling to pieces. Like, yeah, last year was difficult. This year's going to be good. If you can maybe start that from now. And it's a little bit like Bamford coming back as well. It's like, we'll start that from now. We've got Bamford just banging goals in. Goal after goal, and just like mug after mug being sold in his name.
Let me just check. So what you're asking is, I've taken notes on this, is you'd like our players to be good rather than not good.
And injured.
Right.
I'd like them to be good and playing rather than no good and injured. So we build the rest of the season around Firpo, Bamford, Forshaw, and that'll do. Just those three.
Dallas is due back as well, so
Stuart Dallas as well will be like a new signing.
We've not heard from Jesse yet, so he may be confirming that Verba's gone for a small operation, which is what they always like to talk about. It's just a small operation.
just a little clean-up.
A little procedure.
Yeah. It didn't look too bad, was my medical opinion of him walking off the pitch.
Yeah, and you obviously have the expertise in this. Rusty and Janelle's boy, Brendan. Is he having a rest for this one, do you think?
I think so. He's needed one for a while. I know he did get one midweek, but...
Just give him a night out.
And also,
it's the West End. Take him to a show, dinner.
Well, you know, we're at
dancing.
home. We're at home.
But he can go to London. He can go to London and just take in a show and dinner and a dance and get drunk.
What musical do you think he'd like to see?
Oh, one of the Cats ones. I don't know.
One of the Cats ones. Cats 1 or Cats 2?
He had... when they doused him in beer when Salzburg won the league, he was saying that, like, oh, he's not really a big beer guy, but maybe, you know, it's
under
nice,
21.
It's nice to have one, of course, because he's only just turned 21, and he does kind of has that air about him of maybe it would do him some good to just get him pissed, because he seems like since he's come back from the World Cup,
before or after the game,
never did George Best any harm. Actually, no, it did him a lot of harm. Whichever works,
yes, it did.
But he just looks in need of just like.
Bit of fun.
Cobweb clearing seems to be the Brendan Aronson thing. So just do something to get his head clear and, you know, good night out.
It's that bloody injured girlfriend of his. He's too busy worrying about her. Get rid of her.
Brutal.
Find yourself a nice Leeds lass will take you out boozing 5 nights a week. Is that what we're arguing?
I just thought like one night out would maybe fix him.
Imagine the sense of wonder as you take him into a Wetherspoons.
Why even Wetherspoons? They're 3 legs.
Right.
Go hardcore for him.
Yeah, really go in at the deep end.
Yeah, why not?
Predictions for this one, I've already said 5-2 to Leeds.
Well, Moscow's going to London for it, which is a strange approach.
So you're off to the West End to take Brendan.
What have you been working on all week? A magazine that's coming out for this game. So why on earth did you think it was being played in London?
I don't know. I don't think I'm very well.
Fair enough. It'd be like, it's going to end up like 4-2 or something, isn't it, to someone? Mm-hmm. I can't possibly see a world in which they don't score just because of the way we're playing and the fact they've got some good attacking players. So I don't know, let's just try and win it 3-2, 4-3, something like that.
High scoring.
It's our best bet, isn't it?
To outscore the opposition. It genuinely is.
Yeah. I mean, and who knows what the defence will even be. Like, because I know we've been playing. Ayling seems to have got himself back as first choice right back, but then he did that thing the other night, but that was at centre back, so does it count?
And Cooper and Koch had little muscle injuries, didn't they, that he didn't want to risk, so we could end up with a scratch. Charlie Creswell could be back.
Is it little muscles that are injured or muscles that are injured just a little bit?
It's not. There's no clarity around that.
Right.
But it feels. I was going to say it feels a bit like the Liverpool game where you don't really know what's going to come and then suddenly we win. But then every game is like that at the moment where you don't really know what's going to come
and we can lose.
And then there's the results. Like if you compare Fulham and then Bournemouth and then Spurs, all those games that just like there's. And that's, I guess, the problem that we're trying to shake off is every game being different. We'd like just a run of wins,
yeah,
or just not defeats. But it's hard to. It shouldn't be difficult to. It should be difficult to predict whether we'll win, lose, or draw against Brentford because that's football and you never know the future. But it's difficult to predict how we'll play. And kind of what performance we'll put in is it's hard to know whether it's going to be a close match that either team could win or whether we're going to get absolutely battered 7-0. And that's kind of that's where it's difficult. We're not sure what level of performance is going to come out. Marsh will tell us that because we had the nearest to complete that he's seen since he's been here against Aston Villa, and then followed it up with a strong, confident performance against Cardiff, that we're on the move now. And he was saying last week, it's like he's feeling now the most positive that he has felt since he's been here, which, given he celebrated a 4-0 defeat against Manchester City as if it was the best thing that had ever happened to him, the positivity levels must be very, very high for this to be the most positive. But then we don't have the confidence, I don't think, that, yes, we will use that momentum instead of, no, we're going to crash into a wall against Brentford. But we'll see. I guess it's the fun of finding out, isn't it?
My final prediction on this, whoever scores the most goals will win.
Correct.
The Square Ball Podcast.